Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, and after the amazingness of that movie, does this sequel live up to the standard? Better yet, is this the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time? Stay to the end of this video to find out. The first Spider-Verse movie had beautiful animation, and that trend continues in Across the Spider-Verse. The best way to describe this is comic book animation. The way it resembles old school comic book styles of drawing and color schemes. It's not completely 2D animation, there's some 3D mix in there, but for the most part, it's like watching a comic book come to life. And it's beautiful. One scene that's just breathtaking to look at is when Miles and Gwen are hanging upside down on this tower looking out into the city. You're gonna want that shot hanging in your living room. That's how beautiful the animation is. It's also cool how the artwork changes depending on what universe they're in. For example, whenever they're in Spider-Gwen's universe, it's like a mood ring. Like the background changes colors depending on Gwen's mood. So if she's happy, it's like bright pink and white, it's pretty looking. But when she's angry, it'll be dark red or dark purple, it's a trip. But then you go to another universe that's made entirely of Legos. It's insane, but so well done by the animators. Across the Spider-Verse also has an incredible story that will keep you engaged through the entire runtime. You once again follow Miles Morales. He's a little more grown up, he's figured out the Spider-Man thing, but he learns that there's a society of Spider-Men, or people, and animals? Spider folk that protect what's known as the Spiderverse, and he wants to be a part of it. And that's such a fun premise. You get to see multiple realities, you have a funny but awesome villain in the Spot, the fight scenes are just magical, but the best thing of all, especially if you're a fan of Spider-Man, is getting to see all the different Spider folk. There is so many. Like, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan and I can only name like 15 of them. That may seem like a good amount, but there are hundreds of different versions of Spider-Man, and it's so much fun just pointing them all out as they pop up. But what really carries Across the Spider-Verse is the characters. If I have to make a bet, Miles Morales might become your favorite version of Spider-Man after watching this movie. Miles feels like he's alone in his world being Spider-Man, and he wants that community that he had in the first movie, but he also has his own values, his own identity that refuses to conform to the traditional idea of what it means to be Spider-Man. And because of that, he stands apart from the others and reinforces the theme that anyone can be Spider-Man. It doesn't matter what you look like, how you identify, what your story is, the only thing that matters is your commitment to do what's right. That's what Miles Morales represents in this movie, and it's fantastic. Then you have Spider-Gwen, or Gwen Stacy, and this movie gives you more background into who she is as a person, so you understand why she's very distant in making friends or expressing love to family. But watching her go through this movie as she fights this need to keep herself emotionally protected at all costs is such a heartfelt experience that you'll love. And based on how popular she's starting to become, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a spin-off movie for her, which I totally want, by the way. You also have Miguel O'Hara, aka Spider-Man 2099, and he is the leader of this spider society, and for the most part, he's the main antagonist of the movie. Like many spider folk, Miguel had a troubled past, so he's so set in his way to do the right thing. Like, it has to be done this exact way or everything's gonna be destroyed. And that was a perfect counter to Miles, who was all about, no, I want to be my own person, I want to do things my way. Miguel is like an echo of the criticisms that are thrown at the Miles Morales character, not just in the movies, but in the comics, the video games, and the TV shows. You may have heard about this debate going on online about how Miles Morales is not Spider-Man. And the argument is because he doesn't fit a certain criteria, mainly his skin tone, let's be honest. Because he doesn't fit that criteria, he isn't really Spider-Man. He's just someone with spider powers. It's nonsense. But the character Miguel reflects that idea because throughout the movie, he's constantly reminding Miles, you're not like us, you won't do things that we have to do, like things like that. And Across the Spider-Verse deserves respect for that. Whether it did it intentionally or not, it called out that argument and it reminds you that Miles Morales is Spider-Man. And that's all through the character of Miguel. Also, shout out to the various spider folk that appear throughout the movie, but mainly to Spider-Punk, who might be my favorite character in this movie besides Miles. Spider-Punk is set up to be a romantic rival of Miles for Spider-Gwen, so you're prepared to hate him, but once you meet him, He is so cool. He's a punk. He's anti-establishment, he questions authority, he's always talking back to Miguel. But what I love most about him is that he encourages Miles to be himself and to challenge the status quo. So instead of being his rival, he's the homie. But really quick, let me know down in the comments below, who is your favorite version of Spider-Man and why? Across the Spider-Verse does have one issue though. There's moments throughout the movie, especially in the very beginning, where it's really hard to hear what the characters are saying. The music would be blaring loudly, and you can faintly hear that someone is talking, but you have no idea what's being said. Some people claim not to have an issue with the sound. I guess if you're in a theater with those super high-tech speakers, you can hear no problem, but in my experience, I couldn't hear a dang thing. But what about you? Were you able to hear? Besides there being a sound issue, Across the Spider-Verse is not just a great Spider-Man movie, it's just a great movie, period. Is it the best Spider-Man movie ever? I would say it's tied with either first or second, because Spider-Man fans have been getting great movies these past few years, so it's pretty hard to rank them. But if you haven't watched Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse yet, go watch it now. Even if you're not a fan of Spider-Man, please, please, please go watch it, because it is fantastic in every way. What Sony Pictures is doing with these movies is game-changing to the world of cinema. You don't want to miss it. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse isn't a B-Town movie, it's an A-Town movie. Another Spider-Man movie that's believed to be the greatest of all time is Spider-Man No Way Home. Check out my review on it by clicking on the box right here, and if you enjoyed this review and you want to see more, do the Menage a Trois, and I'll see you in the next video.